today we're going to be doing a tutorial on a skeleton XP farm, but it would work for zombies as well, but it was made for skeletons. And so we're here in my test world, and I'm going to give a demo of it before we get started on building it block for block, and I'm going to also give some background on why I built it the way I did, so you can understand why I did the things that I did. So first off, I'll show it off here. So we've got, if you look at our E value or entity value, we got quite a few of them there. And we have an on-off switch here. Right now it's switched to off, so no more can spawn. We have a kill switch, and we have a switch to collect all our items or drops. So I'll just demonstrate that they are a one-shot kill. So you know, you just need to punch them with your bare fist once, and you will kill them. And I'll just show it in use here with a splash potion. I believe that's the best way to do it. Yeah, easiest way to kill them. Just kill them all in one. You don't have to sit there punching them all. But yeah, you can just throw it through the glass here, right at them. Kills them all instantly, and you got tons of XP ready to go. So you'll notice once this is done collecting, yeah, there we go. You'll notice that we can't quite collect everything there. And there's still some XP up there and a lot of drops. So what I've done is I've put a piston facing upwards under this block, and I just flick the switch to activate it, and then you can collect everything that's inside. So you can collect the rest of the XP and all the drops without missing a single one. There we go, and as you can see, we collected everything. And I'll just switch it on here quickly so we can demonstrate the kill switch. And the kill switch is basically just a crusher. It's two pistons are behind this block here, and the one above it, right there. And they just push them forward and crush the skeletons to their death. Okay, so we got one guy in there. You can have as many as you want, doesn't really matter. And then you just press that, kills him instantly, and he didn't drop anything, huh? But that's if you're just going for drops and not for XP, because you won't get any XP from killing them with that. Let's try again here. There we go, so now we got some drops. Alright, so I'll just enter creative mode here, and then I can show off the rest of the system here. So the lighting system is just wired all the way over here to this corner, and it is vertically wired up the corner of the mob spawning area. And it is attached to these redstone lamps on top, which activate the monster spawner on or off. So now it is off because the lights are on, and that prevents spawning. And yeah, that's basically it. And so this is just the wire for the kill switch. It's just hidden behind here and goes to those two pistons I was talking about. And over here I have the wiring for the drop collection. So you may be wondering what this green and purple colored wool represents, and I will explain it. If there are 6 or more skeletons inside this pink wool, the monster spawner here will detect that and will not spawn any more skeletons or zombies or whatever the mob is. So in order to get an infinite amount of mobs, you need to transport them outside of this pink area. And the pink area represents a 17 by 17 by 9 area around the mob spawner. So it is from the mob spawner, it is 8 blocks away in every direction, and vertically it is 4 blocks away, both up and down. So that's a 17 by 17 by 9 area, and that's where you have to transport them outside of for to be able to spawn an infinite amount, or else the spawning will stop after a certain level. So that is why, so there's this pink line here, that's what this pink line here represents it, and I have the skeletons dropping just 1 block outside of that, and so it allows for the quickest transportation but still spawning an infinite amount of them. So this green wool represents the area that you need to be within for the spawner to be active. So if I break a few blocks here, you'll see the spawner right now is flaming, spinning, and active. But once, if I at any time exit this green wooled area, it stops spinning and there are no more flames, which means that it is not active anymore. So it's a full area. I believe it's something like a 17 block Euclidean area, which is kind of confusing, but basically it's this shape of a circle around the spawner, and it would go lower as well, but the ground was here and I didn't want to dig it out. So yeah, this is where you have to be to have the spawner to be active. So I have the green markings right here and right here to indicate that I have to be, that is the line that I have to be within for this spawner to be active. If not, then if I'm at any time outside of here, there will be no spawning going on. So I also wanted to say that the way it works is I'm just pushing them all to one area and then bringing them up an elevator and then dropping them down just enough so they're a one-shot kill. So it's as simple as that, and now we should go build it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is find a skeleton or a zombie dungeon. So I found one here, and then you're going to need to fight all the skeletons or zombies in it and deactivate it by placing some torches around the room. Once it's light enough, with a light level of 8 or more in every available spawnable block space, then you can begin to build it. So once you've destroyed and collected everything from the chest and deactivated the spawner, you can begin to build the spawning room. So to do that, we're going to first need to look at a few directional things. So if you'll notice the F value on the left hand side of my screen, that represents a direction. So 1, 2, 3, and 0. So 0, 1, 2, and 3. And they represent kind of like an east, south, north, northwest kind of thing. And so we're going to need to find first the directions 1 and 2. And in these directions, we're going to need to have the room go 4 blocks away from the spawner. So 1, 2, and then 3, 4. So that wall will be 4 blocks away. And then we're going to need to look in the direction 2, F equals 2, and do the same thing. So 1, 2, and then 3, 4 blocks away. So this wall will need to be exactly 4 blocks away. Now in the directions of 3 and 0, the walls will need to be 3 blocks away as opposed to 4. So this one's 2, so we're going to need to move this wall back 1 to right there. So 1, 2. So in the direction of 0, so it's 1, 2, 3. In the direction of 3, it's 3. Direction of F equals 2, it's 4 blocks. And the direction of F equals 1, it's 4 blocks. So those are the first directional requirements that you need to know. Secondly, our ceiling is going to need to be exactly 3 blocks above our monster spawner. So 1 block there, 2 blocks, and then this 3rd block here will represent the ceiling. So we're going to need to lower this ceiling that we have currently by 1 block level. So that is going to be our ceiling. And next we need to do our floor. And our floor is also going to need to be the 3rd block down. So we're going to have so remember to keep replacing torches once you break them, because mobs will be able to spawn in here once you destroy them. So anyways, go 1 block down, then 2 blocks down, and that will be your floor. The 3rd block down will represent the floor. So I'm going to need to bring the whole floor down to that level right there. And the ceiling is going to be needed at this level, and we're going to need to bring our walls out to these levels that we just predetermined. So I'm going to do that, and then we will be back for the next step. So now that we've got the room all cleared out, we can move on to the next step. But before we do that, we should double check to make sure we've built the room correctly. So do that, we bring up our F screen again, and we'll look in the direction F1, and there should be 4 blocks and then a wall. So 1, 2, 3, 4, a wall. Good. So in the direction F0, there should be 3 blocks, then a wall. So 1, 2, 3, then the wall. Good. So then in the direction F3, there should be 3 blocks, then a wall. So 1, 2, 3, and then a wall. Good. And then in F2, there should be 4 blocks, then a wall. So 1, 2, 3, 4, wall. Good. And then you should have 2 blocks and then the ceiling. So 1, 2, ceiling. Good. And then below it, there should be 1, 2 blocks and then the floor. So that's good. So now that we've built it all correctly, we can just remove these temporary blocks we've placed and go on to the next step. But I wanted to mention that the 2 blocks above the monster spawner are going to be left in. And this is because we don't want any mobs to be able to spawn directly on top of the monster spawner. They will just be stuck up there. Well, they won't be stuck up there. They'll eventually drop down, but it just makes our mob system more efficient to have them only be able to spawn on this floor, because then we can easily group them all together using our water streams, and it just makes it a whole lot easier. We don't want them to spawn on top of that block and just be standing up there. So leave those 2 blocks in, and we can go on to our next step here. So the next step is going to be placing our lighting inside the roof. And normally I followed Exumavoid, I think that's how you pronounce it. He's a YouTuber and a good one. He does very good tutorials, and I normally followed his lighting system for it, and which involved going 3 blocks in from the corner, so 1, 2, 3, and on the 3rd block you would replace it with a redstone lamp. But I found that when you did that, and you do that on every corner, that the very corner blocks here on every corner would have a light level of 7, even when they would have a level of 7 when the lights were turned on. So this is just low enough of a light level to be able to spawn mobs. So the light system didn't quite work for me. So I just changed it a little bit and made it so on what I came up with, it's probably not the best way, but it works. So on this, you go, instead of going on the 3rd block in, you go 1, 2, and on the 2nd block in from the corner, you can break it and replace it with a redstone lamp. So you do this on every corner. So 1, 2, redstone lamp, 1, 2, and the last corner here. So once you have those blocks in, there will still be too low of a light level. Like it'll be, I don't remember the exact value, but the light level will be too low around this middle area. So you're going to need to pull up your F3 screen again, and in the direction either 1 or 2, directly next to the spawner, so either this block facing 1 or facing 2, so this block right here, so either of these 2 blocks, replace it and put a redstone lamp, and that way it should be plenty light level to keep the mob spawner deactivated. Okay, so now that you've got your redstone lamps in, we can begin the wiring for them. So to do this, you start by clearing a 2-block high space above your ceiling. So we're just right above the ceiling here where we got these redstone lamps, and we just made a space so we can start the wiring. So to do this, we start here and we just wire ourselves all over to this one. Then we can go from here, we can go over to this one and to the middle one here, over the middle one, and to this one on the end right here. So this is starting in the corner where F2 and 3 meet. So you just go out from here, out from there, across the center, and to this one in the far corner. This is the best way I found to do it for the direction that we want to carry the wiring, and there might be a better way, but this works and it's pretty simple. So now what we want to do is begin our vertical wiring. So in the same direction that F2 and F3, that corner right there, we want to count 1, 2, and 3 blocks away, or diagonally away from this redstone lamp here. So 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to place a block, and then we're going to put a redstone torch on top of it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to wire our wiring into that block. So just keep carrying it here and right into the block like so. And then what the next step that we can do is we can remove the block below the one we just placed. And then we can put a torch right on that, and you'll see now that all of our redstone lamps are lit up. So now we just have to continue the vertical wiring down, and so we can add a switch to it. So we want to remove 1 block below the one we just put a torch on right there, and place another torch, and that will switch it off again, and it will keep continuing the same pattern all the way down here. So right under that torch we just placed, we want to remove the block and then place a block under it, or if there's already a block there, you don't need to do that. And then we can place a redstone torch on top of that block and then go down again. And this is as far as we'll go down for now, but because it's at 30.6 and that's the level we want to be at, so we'll place a torch right there, and we'll place, since I know our kill floor will be this way, that is why I chose these directions, by the way. I know the kill floor will be this way, so place a lever right here, and now we can control whether our lights are on or off. So right now they're currently off, but if I come back down here, flick the switch, head on back up, they are all switched on. So now we've got a switch to turn our spawner on or off, which is very useful. So we'll just leave it on for now. Now we can remove these torches here as we have our lighting system installed, and these torches are no longer needed. So the next thing we're going to do is find our F2 wall here, and once you find the F2 wall, we can remove 3 blocks. So 2 right in front of you, 1 at your head level, 1 at your feet, and then the one right below your feet, all the way across this wall. our water is going to push the mobs into this little trench we just created. And so we need to have that removed and set up. So the next thing that we can do is create an infinite water pool. And to do this, you can just create a little 3x1 hole in the ground here and place water on either edge, and then you can remove the center water space and you will have an infinite source from there. Okay, so now that we've cleared those blocks right on this side, we can start placing our water. And make sure you stock up on water because it makes this a lot easier. And this is just here so I can quickly get out and access my stuff. This little hole here does not need to be there. So what we're going to do is find the wall that is F0. So it should be right across from your F2 wall. And we're going to place a water source block on each of these squares here at our feet on this wall. So start at one end and work your way over. Whoops, I just wasted one. So once you're done, the flowing water should look like this, and it should push you into this trench and stop right at that level. So when the mobs spawn, they will all fall into this and be pushed into this trench here. So the next step after you've got the water pushing them all into here is to dig 3 blocks deep this way. So you dig in the direction that the spawner is furthest away from the wall. So that is our F1, as it's 4 away from the wall on our F1. So in that direction you dig 3 blocks further than the room ends and down 1 block. And just make sure that there's 3 blocks high space in that trench. And then on the side where the spawner is closest to the wall, we can place a water source block there. And it will push all the mobs that go into this trench into this little 3x3 high area that we just created. So now the next thing we can do is get out our signs. So with the signs, we will place on this third block in, the furthest block in, at our feet. On the side closest to the mob spawner, we will place a sign. So the next sign, we will place 1 block diagonal from it, closer to the monster spawner, right on the wall, and then 1 sign just above that. So 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Then we can start to make our mob elevator. Gonna need a lot of water for this, so I'm keeping all my buckets. So we can place our first source block right here, and this will push all the mobs into this space right here. Then, as mobs will always swim up the water, we can start to make our elevator going up this way. And we're at level 30.6 right now, and we're going to bring it up 24 blocks to, I believe that is 54.6, and that is how high we're going to carry the elevator. So another thing I like to do is remove this block here, so our first water elevator block here will push their head into this wall there. It's probably not needed, but it just allows for maximum, it just allows for them to be really pushed into this wall, so they'll start to go up the elevator more easily. So we can start to just keep going up, placing water, keep going up, placing water, and so on. And we're gonna do this 24 blocks up until level 54.6 on the spawner that I am at. So you just swim up, keep breaking blocks as you're swimming up, and then placing water as you go. So I'll be back when I get 24 blocks up here to level 54.6. Okay, so I forgot to mention that around 11 blocks up the mob evader. So we started at 30, so 40 out of 41. So just approximately 11 blocks up, you should place a sign and not a water block. And this is just so the mobs don't suffocate. They will still continue to swim up, but they will have like one level where they can breathe, so they won't take any damage from suffocation. So that's exactly what we want, and I've built it all the way up to where we want it to. And so when your head's bumping out at 53 or 54, so when you jump, you should be out of the water, you should just be reaching the 24 block height. And then you can start to tunnel towards F2, so just still going further away from the mob systems, so we can be out of that pink area that I talked about at the start of the episode. So we want to face F2 and start to tunnel that way, and we're going to tunnel a 2 block high tunnel, and we're going to go and we're going to go and we're going to go 4 blocks in, so 1 2 3 4, and then on that block we're going to have a sign there, and then the next block here is going to be where we drop them down, and we're going to go down 24 blocks from there. But first we can place our final water here, and we just place it 1 block above the last one we placed, and it'll push all the mobs to this area right here, and then they'll pile up and push against each other and push each other off the drop here. So from here we're going to dig 24 blocks down. So I've already dug 2, so 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 20 oh, so it made me fall an extra block. So 24 blocks down is right here, and it's at that 30.6 level that we were talking about earlier. And so this is where we're going to place a fence post. So I'm just going to give myself some room here, and I'm going to place the fence post on top of the block. So you dig 24 blocks down and then place a fence post on top of the block that you dug down to. So there we go. And they should fall onto that block right there. I'm just going to clear a little space around it, just so we can start building our kill floor around there. Light this up so no mobs come at us. And so they're gonna drop down here right onto this fence post. And to get back from here, I would look in the direction. So to get back in here, I would look in the direction 3, and from this area, I would dig 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 blocks this way in the direction of 3, and then start digging back towards start digging back towards 0, because 0 is where we came from. So we're gonna start digging back towards there, and you only need to go a few blocks before you should arrive at the lever that we placed earlier. And so then you should be able to get back up and back to your starting area, and we'll be able to wire that switch easily to our kill floor here. Okay, so I have dug out an area around the killing area where they land, the kill floor, and just in the direction facing 3 towards the switch here. I've just cleared out some space so we can wire that up better, and so we can see everything that's going on. So first thing we need to do is test it, and so we should place some blocks just right around this hole here so that the skeletons can't shoot us, and then we can go ahead and flick the switch to turn it on. Right away you heard some spawns there, and so to test it we need to see 2 things. First of all, we need to test to make sure that we drop them the right amount. So we need to test that they're a one-shot kill with just our fist. And second of all, we need to see that they spawn an infinite amount. So we need to see that they're outside of that area where we need to make sure that they're outside of that pink area that I showed in the beginning, where if they were inside that area, the monster spawner would stop spawning after 6. So we need to make sure that we brought them far enough, as well as that we dropped them far enough. So first things first, let's test whether we dropped them far enough. One shot. So that means yes, good, we did it right. I'm just going to place a block right here, and so that will be where our block is that gets pushed up by the piston, but I don't have that set up right now just because I'm testing it, so I'll just place that there to collect our items. And now we just need to test if they will continue to spawn even once there's 6 here. So there's 3 now. 5. 6. So now there's 6 here. And we just heard more spawn. So we know that they will continue to spawn infinitely. To give it a real test, we'll just wait a little bit longer just to make sure. Because now there's definitely a lot more than 6. So if we see the water, hear the water start to splash again, we'll know that they are in the right spot. There we go. We heard it. More just spawned, and we've got quite a bit here ready to be killed. So I'll just kill them. And so we've done it all right. Now we just need to wire our crusher up, our piston to collect the drops, and then lastly we just need to hook up the on-off switch. So just a few more things and we will be done. So I'm just going to go ahead and switch it off here, and then we will start on wiring everything up and getting the switches all ready to go. I'm not going to go for looks here, I'm just going to go for practicality, so don't judge me on how everything is designed and looks. I'm just trying to show you the easiest way to do things. So I'll be back and we will wire everything up. So the first thing that we're gonna do is wire our on-off switch. So break this lever and we can just begin to wire it all the way to our area. So if you wanted to have like a nice little path here, you could leave this open like so, but we're going to keep it at least one block distance away from our wall here, or 2 blocks distance away from our wall here, until we bring it into the wall. So I'm just going to bring it 1 up, so that way the wire goes into this wall, which powers it, And there we go. And so it is working. So that torch is off right now. And to check to make sure it's working, we switch it and that torch should be on again. There we go, perfect. Okay, so once we've got that set up, then now we can start to work on the crusher. So where we're gonna build it is right where this glass block, we're gonna replace it with stone. That's gonna be like the first crushing block, and then the one above it. So we're gonna want to place pistons directly behind that. So we'll do the one on top first actually, and then we can place it so it needs to be facing the direction that they drop down in, and then we can place one below it. Okay, so now we've got our two sticky pistons ready to go. We just have to wire them. So there's a few ways to do this, but I find the easiest way is to use a repeater. So if I put a repeater here, and powered it, it would only power the one. So that doesn't work. So we need to go one higher. And place a repeater. So we're gonna have a repeater there, and that should power both of them. Double check it. It works. Okay. Give me back that torch. Okay, so now we just need to wire it down to wherever we want the switch. I'm just gonna do mine similar to where I had it set up before. So I'm actually gonna move this wiring one over, just so we can have some room for our other lever here. So we're going to wire it down like this and over one block here, and then we can place a lever on the other side of this block there. So if we place a lever, oh, I don't have a lever, be right back. We're gonna have to move this lever for the lighting one over, and so that will work for the lighting. And then this lever right here will be wired up through here all the way up to the repeater that powers the two pistons right there. So now we've got the crusher right here, and we have got the lighting right here. So we now just have to worry about wiring this one last step, and that is right here. We want to have a block raised, so we want this block to be raised by one. So we're going to put a repeater facing upwards, 2 down, and put a block over it, and then we're going to need to find a way to power it. So to do that, we'll just try to hide the wiring here, and we'll try to get a lever around here. All I did was just break some blocks to create some space to wire it up. So wired it backwards, up, up, and then right to this block here. And now we have it ready to go. So now we have our crusher, our lighting system, and our collection spot. And so we can test everything out to make sure it works and finalize it. So I'm just going to make it look a little bit more pretty. And yep, you can hear them coming now. I'm just going to break this block and place some stone behind there. And so now we have it set up perfectly. We just need to wait and test it out. You can block this area off if you want to cover the wiring. You can even simplify it slightly by doing this. Gives you a little bit more room. Like so. And then we can block it off like this. So that way we can cover all the wiring and still go back and forth between our spawning area and our kill area. So that's just a matter of aesthetics. You just need to cover all your wiring up afterwards. Pretty simple to do. And so now we can test it out. There, one-shot kill. Good to go. Can we collect the drops? Yes, we can. And does our crushing system work? Yes, it does. And now we just gotta test to make sure this switch works. So I just switched it, so it should be switching to off now. Good. So now it is set to off and all our switches are set up and we are done. So one last thing, I don't like the level that this floor is at for killing them. You have a little bit of an angle that's hard to work with. So what I do is I replace the floor with half slabs. So that way you can still get up onto this if you need to collect the XP, but also you can get a little bit of a better angle for killing them at. So you have like more space to kill them with. You can always get them with this, and then you can easily get onto your half slab, onto your full block here to collect all the items. So that's it for my tutorial, and thanks for watching.